Welcome back, YouTube. Just want to say Merry Christmas to you and your family. Hopefully everybody has a happy holiday. Please don't forget to subscribe for me. And this is my top 5 Christmas automotive wish list. Let's see if Santa brings me anything this year. All right, let's get into it.
Let's go.
At number 5, the Toyota Mark IV Supra. That's pretty much all you have to say, but I'll continue. The Mark IV is an icon in the automotive world. It looks great, it's well built, and the modding potential for this car is pretty much unlimited. Available in the US from 1993 to 1998, the Supra sold very well and was highly regarded in the car world. What really makes the Supra the monster that it is the beast under the hood, the world-renowned 2JZ GTE. The 2JZ was the family of engine, and the G stood for performance-oriented dual overhead cam setup, the T for turbocharged, and the E for electronically fuel injected. The 2JZ is an incredibly robust engine made from a cast iron block, steel crankshaft, and very above average internals. The 2JZ GTE, with its sequential turbo layout, produced roughly 320 horses, and will get the Mark IV to 60 in 4.6 seconds. It hit the quarter mile in 13.1 at 109 miles per hour. Since its discontinuation in 1998, the Supra is highly sought after for its near unlimited potential to produce science fiction levels of pony power. With just a few minor upgrades, the Supra easily pushes out upwards of 1,000 horsepower. Throw even more money at it, and it's in the god tier 2,000 horsepower range. I think this car is awesome and have loved it since I first noticed it in the mid-90s. Initially priced around $40,000 depending on trim level, the twin-turbo versions now fetch upwards of $160,000. Even stock, the Mark IV Supra is beautifully designed with great lines and comes with an engine with untapped potential. I really want one, and that's why it's on my wish list. Number 4 is a Subaru WRX STI. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like it can do anything, and it pretty much can. The one I want, and pretty much anyone adding one of these to their wish list would want, is the 22B, but considering only 424 were ever made, with a ridiculously disrespectful amount actually coming to the States, 21 to be exact, I'll just take one of the 2000s STIs. STI stands for Subaru Technica International, by the way. This is the motorsports division within Subaru that designs and tunes high-performance cars. The 2004 WRX came with the EJ257 engine. A 2.5-liter turbocharged engine gives the WRX around 300 horses. The interior is definitely race-inspired and comes with some very atypical features for a standard car. The most notable being a driver-activated sprayer that shoots water onto the intercooler to help cool down air temps when really pushing this thing to its limits. Another really cool feature is the driver-controlled center differential. A thumb wheel on the center console allows the driver to select how much power they want split between the front and rear wheels depending on driving conditions. This is all rounded out by the fact that no automatic transmission was available, but instead the STI was only offered a 6-speed manual. With its incredibly wide stance, hood scoop, and giant wing, not to mention all-wheel drive traction, this thing looks like it's built to be driven hard, and I wouldn't say no to one. Number 3 is the C8 Z06. I did a video a few weeks ago talking about the Z06 run at the Nürburgring. You can check it out here. Some people like the new C8 and some people don't care for it. Personally, I think GM has made an impressive machine here. Released in 2020, the new design is sleek, aggressive, and a big overhaul from its C7 predecessor. With its now mid-mounted engine, the C8 definitely takes on more of a Ferrari look with its very angular nose and boxy rear end. The new power plant is quite impressive for the Z06, a 5.5-liter V8 cranking out 670 horses and screaming to 60 in 2.6 seconds. Beyond just performance, you have to really appreciate the way the C8 sounds. Taking another cue from the Italians, the new engine now has a flat plane crank that really allows it to sing. This allows the engine to rev incredibly high, up to 8,600 RPM, and you definitely hear it. The entire car has been redesigned, and the interior is basically a cockpit now, albeit a very luxurious one. Not nearly as expensive as a lot of supercars producing similar numbers, the Z06 starts a little over $110,000 and goes up to about $135,000 depending on options. All that being said, I know the Z06 didn't perform up to what enthusiasts were hoping it would be, but honestly, track times aren't everything. Reputable drivers, they all seem to say how intuitive this car is and how much confidence it gives the driver. I love the way this thing looks and sounds and hope Santa brings me one this year.
We gave it the power of a supercar. Then we gave it the precision of a Lexus. And in turn, wrote a new definition of what's possible for an automobile.
Number 2 on my list is the Lexus LFA. I remember somewhere around 2010 there was a giant billboard advertising the LFA on 75 North heading out from Atlanta. It was up forever, like years, and I used to think, where the hell is this ridiculously sick-looking Lexus? Turns out only 500 were ever made. The story of the LFA is unfortunately a cautionary tale in Project Creep. Beginning in the early 2000s, development of the LFA lasted almost a decade with numerous redesigns and upgrades along the way. Many of the industry-breaking technologies Toyota created just for the LFA were actually pretty standard by the time the vehicle was released. If you want to check out a very good video on the tragedy of the LFA, check out the Squids video covering the subject. I've seen it several times and it's very interesting and I highly recommend it. All that doom and gloom aside, the LFA is an absolutely legendary vehicle. This thing is graceful yet aggressive, basically what you would expect from a Lexus supercar. Its most notable feature, the 550 horsepower 4.8 liter V10, or rather the sound that V10 makes. It's quite unlike anything else ever produced and is widely claimed to be the best sounding car ever built. Ripping in 9,000 RPM in just 0.6 of a second is absurd and what contributes to the LFA's gorgeous exhaust note. Toyota also had Yamaha help design the exhaust and the acoustics from the engine to the cabin so the driver would be enveloped in the sound of that glorious engine. Not one of the fastest cars ever produced, in fact slow by today's standards, but what an absolute dream to get to see one of these, let alone own one. I doubt Santa will bring me one of these, but a guy can wish, right? Number 1 on this list for me is none other than the legendary Nissan R34 Skyline GT-R. If you grew up playing Gran Turismo in the early 2000s, you know exactly what this car is. It's awesome. That's what it is. I knew all of the Nissans on the road at the time and couldn't understand why this car was in such a popular game, but we didn't have it. And that's just because the United States never got this car. Tragic. And moving on. Just look at how dope this thing is. It looks like something out of an anime. It's a two-door monster and literally has the name Godzilla. For real. While being produced in multiple specs, the gist is that it comes with the highly acclaimed RB26 2.6 liter twin turbocharged inline 6, producing an underreported 280 horsepower. Just look up Gentleman's Agreement with Japanese car makers and you'll understand what I'm talking about. The R34, just like its predecessors, was wide and low and brutally aggressive. One look at its front end and you know this thing means business. The GTR was incredibly engineered and had some pretty incredible tech for its time. One of those advanced features was its four-wheel drive steering system called Super Hicus, a feature that really allowed the Skyline to handle turns at very high speeds by rotating the car through them. When initially released, the R34 came with a price tag of around $45,000. Today, the going price starts well over $100,000 and goes upwards of $1 million, depending on the model. With the 25-year import restriction coming to an end, the GTRs are now available for importing to the US. So Santa, please make it happen. All right, that's my list. If you got a list of your own, let me know. What would you pick for your Christmas wish list? Drop a comment below for me. And again, please don't forget to subscribe. And guys, have a very, very Merry Christmas. And stay safe out there. Take care of each other. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
Hip hop is dead. Nobody knows how to make real music anymore. Dead. 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 Dead.